Hi everyone, it's Plastic EP here, and it gives me great pleasure to interview Jodi RITZEN. How are you today, Jodi, in Pennsylvania?
I'm wonderful. How are you in Australia?
Well, it's about 1 a.m. here, and I mean, I'm usually asleep, but you're worth staying up for. I got to say that.
Thank you. That makes me so happy. It's 11 a.m. here. Um, and I'm just getting out of bed because frankly, what else do I have to do today?
Of course, of course. Can you give an introduction to your dog there?
This is Maggie, and Maggie is my daughter. And we have spent a lot of time together recently, and she wanted to apparently come up and hang out with us.
Oh, that's fantastic.
How are you guys doing in Australia? Are you staying safe?
Yeah, we're staying safe. We're mainly staying at home. It's a bit hard, but I mean, I'm finding things to do, like yourself, right? I'm loving all your interviews that you're doing. And the one you did with Barry Williams, I got to compliment you on that. I call him
Thank
Greg
you.
Brady, right? But this side of the fence where we are here in Australia, the Brady Bunch was huge. So I thought that
It
was a
was.
fantastic interview. Yeah, really huge here.
Wow. He's a wonderful guy. I'm really lucky because I've met so many incredible people. I mean, it's one thing to see them with a script and on television or the radio, but to know that they're also good people in real life, which that's what I'm trying to share with everybody is I know that I'm very lucky. And but some of these people are just so incredible on their own in the real world, and he's one of them. So I'm really glad that I had that opportunity to share that.
Well, the Brady Bunch were huge, but let me tell you, the Partridge family here was even as big, believe it or not. The Partridge
I
family.
never saw one episode of the Partridge
Are you
Family.
serious?
I've met Danny several times, but no, I never saw the Partridge Family because I was born in '74. What happened was the Monkees, because they came back in the '80s. That's when I fell in love with the Monkees. But the Partridge Family, I'm not 100% sure that it really ever was in reruns where the Monkees were. Plus, the music on the radio was really what sealed the deal for me with the Monkees. The Partridge Family never having the radio play in the '80s is probably why I never really got into them. I do know the song I Think I Love You,
Oh,
but
that's fantastic. But I got to tell you, here in Australia, I'm a first generation fan. And for me, I was too young for the Beatles. When the Beatles came in Australia in '64 and they were huge around the world, I was only 6 years old. I didn't know what was going on. But then it comes 1966, the Monkees started in the US, but we're like 6 months behind you. So the Monkees didn't
right.
hit Australia here until 1967. So here I am between the ages of 8 and 9. I'm watching the Monkees, right? And I go, what's this? I'm learning their songs. And that was like Peter's song, For Pete's Sake, my generation. That was my generation where I've got a sister and she grew up with ABBA. So everybody actually has a group that they grow up with. And I'm fortunate enough to say I'm so proud that I'm first generation fan, not taking anything away from anybody because everybody's a fan. Doesn't matter what age they are now.
Absolutely.
They all love the Monkees.
I, the whole first generation, second generation, it's such a, I mean, obviously, I get to meet people of every age demographic when I'm out with Mickey and Mike. But listen, if you love them, you love them.
Yeah.
So I'm just as happy when I meet a kid that because the kids are the ones who are realistically going to carry that flame. So I don't mind sharing, with anybody. I don't look down upon them. The love is the love, that's what's selling records and keeping the guys going.
And I got to say, you're so helpful with fans. You go out of your way for everybody. And I
I try.
know, I know that there's this love for the Monkees that you have, and it's genuine. And what I want to know is that's why the show's called Jodi Loves the Monkees. because I want to know how your love started for the Monkees, how you ended up working for Mickey and Mike, and how you actually got into the inner sanctum and you're with them and you can class yourself as being part of the Monkee family. That is a story in itself. And that's the story I want to hear from yourself.
Well, in 1986, I remember walking home from school, and the kid that I walked home from school with, he says, "Hey, did you see that new show, The Monkees?" It came on, I want to say around 3:30 in the afternoon, and this was in 86. And I said, "The Monkees, who are they?" And I watched the TV show, and I don't know why, but I love the guy with the green hat, who clearly is Mike. And then when I found out that the Monkees were going to be coming to Atlantic City, I asked my parents if they would take me. And my grandmom always got free tickets to the shows in Atlantic City because she was a gambler. So the casinos were where they were. And I remember asking my grandmom if she would get me tickets to see the Monkees. And she says she would try. And so I found out I was going to see the Monkees. It was September 27th, 1986. And I don't know, there was a store that made t-shirts back in the day, airbrush t-shirts. And I had my mom take me there, and the guy says, "What do you want on your shirt?" And I said, "The Monkees." And he goes, "Who's your favorite Monkee?" And I said, "Mike Nesmith is my favorite Monkee." And he says, "Well, you know, he's not going to be at the concert." And I said, "What are you talking about?" I was only like 12. And he said that Mike wasn't touring with them. And my first fight was in that store. I told the guy, I said, "You have no idea what you're talking about. Of course Mike's going to be there." And he goes, "No, he's not touring with them." And I remember being so disappointed. Sure enough, I was at the first concert that the Monkees did in 1986, and Mike wasn't there. And I don't know what happened, but immediately I loved Mickey. Mickey was wearing a white satin shirt and white satin pants, and I'm 12 years old and I'm screaming on my chair. And I left there being a Mickey Dolenz fan. And I kid you not, since 1986, I was going to marry that man. I just loved him, and I became a Mickey girl. And since 1986, I have never had another celebrity, another crush, another band. It's always been about the Monkees. I was made fun of in school. I was known as the Monkee girl. And in my yearbook in 1980, when I graduated from high school in 1992, my quote was, "That was then, this is now." And I don't know why I picked that one, but I've always loved the music, and have always loved them. They always have made me smile. I had wall-to-wall Monkee pictures in my room when I was a kid, and now as an adult, my office is all Monkees.
You're living the dream, Jodi. You're actually living the dream. It's a fan that ends up being in the inner sanctum of the Monkees. That story you just told me now, I'm glad you said at the end you're a Monkees girl because, a Mickey's
Mickey
girl.
girl.
Because if you had not told me that story, I would have said your favorite Monkee is Mickey. I don't know, but that's the vibe I've been getting. But when you said Mike and you changed to Mickey, that's fair because you got to understand something. When I was growing up and I was watching the show in the 60s, right, I leaned towards Mickey and I leaned towards Mike. And the great thing about that show is 1 week, oh, gee, Mickey's great. The next week is, oh, Mike, he's the cool one. He sings country rock. He wears a green hat. He's like, oh, he knows what to do. Like he's like a leader. He gets it. And then the following week is, oh, Davey. Oh, Davey's good too. And then Peter. Like it's universal. They're characters of playing themselves and Peter playing the other character. The whole show is basically stuck in pop culture. It's never going to leave. And it's a universal show. That's it.
And one thing that I never paid attention to that Mickey actually pointed out to me, I think only a couple months ago, he said that the reason that the Monkees translated so well is because it was never topical. Like it wasn't ever talking about the president, the war, politics. It never talked about anything current events. So unlike many shows where you knew the time period, the laughter was the laughter. And for me, Mickey always just made me laugh and Mike made me laugh. And I think because I was a political science major in school, even though Nez's comedy was a little bit drier, I got him, you know? I mean, I don't understand now most of what he talks about because it's a little over my head. It was just innocent comedy, you know? It was, I know that when I was growing up, music was starting to change. And that was, I guess, in around 1987, some albums in the United States were being flagged because of the language or because it was too sexual in content. And there was labels that were starting to be put on that would say explicit lyrics or something like that. I never got into like that kind of music. I wasn't into I think it was Guns N' Roses. When Guns N' Roses came out, I remember it saying like you had to be a certain age to purchase it here. With the Monkees, I didn't have to ever, I mean, now looking back on it, I was never singing songs in my car to my parents that were of where the message was, you know, sexual or inappropriate for a kid to sing. Whereas I remember when I would drive with my kids and some guy named 50 Cent came out and he was singing about things that were inappropriate using different words. And I remember my kids singing it and I'm thinking to myself, they don't even realize what they're singing and how if they realized it, it's so inappropriate to be singing with your mom and dad. That to me, the Monkees, you know, it just was just fun, bubblegummy music. And though I was made fun of years ago, the people who made fun of me when I was a kid aren't really making fun of me anymore because now it's like, wow, that's so cool. The same girl that was the monkey girl really became a monkey girl, you know, and I love everything about what I do. I'm proud of every moment that I have with those guys. And I really, you know, I try and tell people that if they're in your town and you love them, go see them because you never know when it's going to be your last time. And I got caught up in that with Davey because I was actually supposed to work with Davey and he died right before. I'll show you. I'm gonna be careful. I'm still wearing boxer shorts because there's nowhere to go around here, but I actually have on my wall. I'll take it off. This I was supposed to work with Davey, and this is a refund check that I made a copy of that because it says canceled 5/12/12 because that was the date I was supposed to work with Davey. And because he passed away, it never happened. But I didn't ever imagine working for Davey. I never imagined any of this. I mean, I always wanted to work with Mickey. I never in my life thought I'd be working with Michael Nesmith. So you know, it's been a really crazy couple of years. I really got a lot more out of things than I ever imagined I would. And I'm the happiest person ever.
And you deserve it because you're genuine. And the love for the Monkees is genuine too. I've got to tell you two little stories. When I was going to state school, right, when the Monkees first started in 1967, and I know you do karaoke with Mickey, right, with all the fans. So I'm this little 8-year-old going to school, and when I went to state school, most of the older people, the kids, they were into the Beatles. They weren't into the Monkees. You know, like they made fun of you because you were into the Monkees. But
Yep.
that didn't bother me. But I tell you what, I started learning Last Train to Clarksville, I'm Not Your Stepping Stone, You Just May Be the One, Mary Mary, and singing them all the way to school. But the one that was the hardest was Going Down. And I went out of my way to learn that song at 8 years old. So when Mickey stands up there with doing the karaoke, and after he sees this, he'll probably see this film, he can know that that's one of the hardest songs to sing at 8 years old. I mean, floating down the river with a saturated liver, like unbelievable. But that's what it is when you have the love for the monkey, as you'd know yourself. Now, the other question I want to ask you is, I know you do a lot of work at Video Ranch, and it's surprisingly how much stuff you can buy, and I mean great stuff from Video Ranch. They really have got his best products. Like, for example, I bought the book Infinite Tuesday, and he gave this as an extra slip inside the book, and he actually signed that as well. I mean, how great is that? The last concert they did here in Melbourne, Australia, I was fortunate enough when I went to the Monkey Desk there, I purchased this, and this is just wonderful. This is in my study, and I look at it every day, and I mean, it's just a great photo.
Nez, when I first met Nez, first of all, he was never on my radar. Like, I never said I want to meet Michael Nesmith, because I looked at him as like Willy Wonka, that it's the chocolate factory, and he's like this like person you're never ever going to meet. And when we did the first Monkees convention, it wasn't actually my convention. I had nothing to, all I did was email the lady who was running it, because I was working with Butch Patrick, who was on the Munsters, and then he was also in the Christmas episode. And he had gotten a message on Facebook after Davey passed away that said they're doing a memorial convention. And I messaged Butch and I said, we're going to this. I love the Monkees. We're going to this thing. No matter what you say, we're going. And I sent an email to the lady and I said, if you need any help whatsoever, please use me. I'll do anything I can to help you. And then all of a sudden she was like, yeah, can you contact Barry Williams? Can you contact this person? Can you contact this person? And I was like, okay. And so I just started keeping the relationships with these people. And then I didn't want to have another Monkees convention, because I thought, what's the point? That we don't have, why are we doing another convention? We just did one. And she said, I feel like the fans really want another convention. And I said, well, then we have to have a reason to do it. I'm getting Michael Nesmith. And she said, are you kidding me? And whenever I told anybody that, they were like, are you kidding me? That's not going to happen. And it was a lot of persuading, a lot of money, a lot of everything. But when Nez confirmed that he was going to do it, I kid you not, I ran like a child, which I still am a child. I, like a child, ran around my house screaming bloody murder, screaming at my husband. I just could not believe it. And I couldn't wait to tell everybody. And I remember when I first met him, it was in an elevator. And I had on sneakers that I still have that are sparkly, glittery silver sneakers. And he walks in and his head was down like this. And I'm standing there and he goes, cool shoes. And I turned around. I'm like, oh my God. Like a kid.
Yeah, but he actually wears Jimmy Choo shoes, doesn't he? Those silver ones. Yeah.
One of the pairs, he's got, he has a silver pair of Jimmy Choo's, and he has a blue pair of Michael Kors. And I actually, when we were at the Mohegan Sun, I was in the dressing room and he was like, all right, I got to get dressed for the show. And I said, okay. I said, well, I'm going to go. And he's like, no, you don't have to leave. And I was with Melody picking out what he was going to wear. Should I wear the blue ones? Should I wear the silver ones? And my head was like about to explode. I mean, though I'm an adult, I am in my heart, I am so childlike, and I'm standing there in my mind. My mind is like trying to absorb everything because I know that I don't know if I'm ever going to get this chance again. And as a kid, I'm, thinking of the stories that I'm having at this point. Like I'm helping him pick out his shoes, and then when after he got sick and I saw him again, we were it was during an F&B show, and the shoes were on the floor, and I'm trying his shoes on. I'm taking pictures of the shoes, the hat, the nudie hat. I'm like, I mean, I am no different than everybody else. Every time I'm with them, I'm excited. And I don't want anybody, I don't need my family there. I don't need to have an entourage. I just sit like you would and like in awe of everything. And I'm so appreciative.
Jodi, I got to tell you this story, right? When Peter and Mickey came here, Andrew Sandoval was taking photos, right? So we're in the stage area there, and exactly the same thing happened to me. I'm standing between Peter and Mickey, and I got the photo, and I'd already met Peter previously, but I hadn't met Mickey. So there's a photo, the first photo Andrew took, my face was like this, just staring at Mickey's face, 1 foot away, and what's playing through my head is every single monkey scene that I've seen of him running around or with a light bulb on his head or whatever. It's like your whole childhood ran through your head and you go, that's the man. Like I'm a believer. I'm a true believer. There's my, my heroes, the whole Monkees, all right? But as I said, I lean a little bit towards Mickey and Mike, and I just stared at the guy, and it was like my whole childhood, it just ran through my mind. And that's exactly what you're saying it is.
It's very surreal. I mean, I've not had arguments, but I've had conversations with my husband. And he's like, he calls me a 12-year-old with a credit card. And I try to explain to him, why do people get down on me because I have a job that I love? I mean, I'm always happy and excited. And what's wrong with that? What's wrong with being able to be happy all the time? They make me happy. And I've tried to explain, Mickey and Mike don't always really understand, but every photo I have, they're smiling. And since, magazines don't put photos of miserable people, what do they say? 1, 2, 3, smile. Say cheese, so that your face is lit up. So every time I'm in a sad mood or I was upset or miserable as a kid, I would stare at my walls as I do now, and you have a smiling face looking back at you. It's not saying money's tight, we're in a quarantine. It's not saying anything other than smile. And so when I look at these photos, they make me happy. They've always been a smiley face for me. And that is how I grew up. From 12 years old to 45, these guys smiled back. They didn't ever yell at me. They didn't ever tell me I was fat or ugly or too short or you're fired or how much money do you have? They were just smiling faces at me. And that is exactly how I look at them now. And there isn't enough hours in the day that I could stop listening to their stories. When I have dinner with them, it's surreal. I mean, some of the best times in my entire life are going to dinner with Mickey and Mike and sitting there like, oh my God. And, this is a dream. And I am not going to not take advantage of listening, because there's thousands of people that wish they were here right now. I don't take it for granted. I never do. And I hope that I get that opportunity again with them. I don't know if it's going to happen again, but every opportunity I take advantage of. I absolutely love them. I don't care about money. I don't care about how much travel is involved. I love them. And and I think I was about 15 when I met Mickey for the first time. I remember I had mono and my throat was like out to there. I'm looking to see if I have that picture. Oh, I do. Wait, I'm hoping I'm not,
Oh, go for it.
nobody can see what I'm wearing. But when I was, this is that one. When I first met Mickey, I had mono, I was swollen, and I couldn't barely talk. And he was coming to New Jersey, and I said to my parents, I have to go. And they go, you can only see one of the shows. You can't do both of them, because it was one of those like it was him, it was Tiny Tim, it was the Tokens who sing The Lion Sleeps Tonight. It was one of those shows. And they go, you can only do one show. Jodi, you're too sick. And I said, I don't care. I'm going. And my throat was so bad that my grandfather called me. He thought it was a guy. He was like, am I calling the wrong number? And I was like, no, Grandpa, it's me. And we got to the show, and the show was over. And I dart up front, and my parents go, where are you going? And I said, oh no, I'm meeting Mickey. And then all of a sudden they announced that everybody's going to be signing autographs. So I wanted to be the last one. And Mickey signed an autograph for me and took a picture with me. And oh my God, I love that man. I will do anything for him. I love him so much. And years later, so this was when he did 54 Below, that one. And I got this made, and he signed That Was Then, This Is Now. And he goes, wow, you lost a lot of weight. And I said, Mickey, I was like 14 years old there. But I remember that feeling. And I want everybody to have the feeling that I did of like your mind being blown. I appreciate everybody being able to meet them. I mean, I can't do it for everybody, but I love that Mickey tries to raise money for charity. He has to make a living. It costs money for everybody to travel out there to make things happen. I pay for my constant contact. I pay for my video stuff. But I'm not ever going to be rich doing this. And I never wanted to. I didn't care. I didn't care if it cost me money. I love that man, and I love Mike. And I'm so grateful that the fans get the opportunity that I had, and I mean, I have the ultimate experience that everybody wishes they had. And I hope it's not over, but if it is over, I lived it out to the fullest. And I'm really appreciative that they gave me the opportunity. I can't begin to tell you. But I remind Mickey all the time, Nez hired me first.
Jodi, I can't thank you enough for the interview that we did today. And I'm one of the biggest Monkees fans with others here in Australia, and I love it as much as you do, right? And I'm sure when they see this, they're going to love the interview, because you're Jodi and you're telling your story, and that's the love of the Monkees that you shared with us today. And it's something that I can't explain, but I know exactly what you're talking about, because they bring joy, they bring happiness, and they were happy times back in the 60s. Not like today, it's a bit different. But you know what? When you're a bit down, put on the Monkees. Watch their shows. Do something and make yourself happy. That's all you can do in these times. So
when I go to see, I have probably seen Mickey's show 200 times. And I don't I don't want to go with other people. I don't need my husband to go with me because when I go to the shows, I'm a 12-year-old kid again. It doesn't matter how many times I hear Last Train to Clarksville. I've had some people say, like, aren't you sick of this? No, I'm absolutely not sick of it. I watch him perform, I hear the music, and I zone out. I literally zone out. I don't care about anything going around or going on around me because in that moment, I'm I'm a kid, you know, I'm at home, I'm with my parents, it's safe. There's no bills, I say there's no bills, there's no bullshit. There's nothing. It's I am just a child. And why not? Why not be a child? What is so great about being an adult? I mean, the responsibility that comes with being an adult to have to tell your kid, you know, school's closed for the next 6 months because you can't leave your house. Who wants to have to do that? Who wants to have to, you know, pay a bill? Who wants to deal with, you know, going and buying a car and then, you know, looking both ways before you cross the street? I didn't have any responsibilities when I was a child. All I had to do was be a kid and laugh. There was no stress. And I come in my office and I'm carefree. I don't care. I don't care about anything around me. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And I get lost in it. And look, I know that I have to be an adult at times, but when you think right now, especially right now, what the fun, what we had when we were children. Listen, what we had 2 months ago, you know, when you were able to leave your house, things that everybody has taken for granted. I don't take any of this for granted. And I hope when things normalize again, that everybody's able to look back to when they were happy. I'm lucky. I realized it a very long time ago. But I don't think a lot of people have come to that yet in their head, what makes them happy. And this is my happy place. The Monkees are my happy place. And, you know, I dread the day that it ends, but that's why I try to tell everybody whatever you can have, take advantage of it. Smile, you know, I mean, watch their television show, listen to the music, or whatever kind of music it is that makes you happy. Don't analyze it to death. I don't I don't read I'm trying hard not to read when people overanalyze the Monkees. You know, oh, they didn't play their own instruments. They didn't this. I couldn't care less. I do not care. I don't care if you know the politics that they follow. I don't care about how many girls they dated. You know what? I am able to section off. This was a television show. This is music, and none of that is my business. I know what just makes me happy. And I wish more people could embrace the positive that I have found because who cares about the rest of it, you know? Same thing with anything on television where these guys were just hired to do a job, you know, and in their job they made me forget for 30 minutes a week. They made me forget about, you know, everything else. And I'm really proud to be a Monkees fan. I am proud if somebody wants to call me a groupie, I don't care. You know something, it's an honor because what other group that has been around for 50 years that never played an instrument, as they say, has an album right now on Billboard? My guys do. So I don't care what anybody says. I'm proud to be a Monkees fan, and I will be a Monkees fan until the day that I go. I'm going to be buried with all my stuff. But I mean, pretty much because my husband said as soon as I'm dead, all of this is gone. So I don't care. And
Jodi, I got to tell you, that's fantastic. You know, you're touching everyone's hearts out there. And as I said, a lot of people in Australia will watch this interview, and a lot of people in the US will watch this interview. All Monkees fans will watch this interview for your story. And I'm so happy that you could share your story with us today. It made me happy too. Nearly made me shed a tear as well. Lucky I'm wearing glasses. But I just want to tell you, I'm sure you touched a lot of hearts at this particular time. And I just want everyone to stay safe and continue on. And from Plastic EP and Jodi, you take us out, Jodi.
Keep listening to the music, keep smiling, keep being Monkees fans. It doesn't matter where in the country. When you think about you're in Australia, I'm in America. It's now 1:30 in the morning there, 11 a.m. here, and that we're friends all because of four guys that answered an ad 53 years ago, whatever it was. But we're lucky that because of them, we have each other. And we have a whole big, enormous family all over the world just because we all have something in common. We love the Monkees. And thank you so much for letting me tell my story and just keep enjoying, because I have a feeling one day we all are going to leave the house again. And then we're going to have one big party that is going to be monumental, that we will appreciate better than we did if it was 6 months ago. So thank you so much for everything, and keep interviewing people and keeping the positive energy going.
Well, after this, Jodi, I can tell you Australia loves you, all right? I can't say any more, okay?
And we love you. Thank you so much.
A pleasure. See you, Jodi.